All these injuries are going to keep big names like Randy Orton and Seth Rollins out of the ring until at least June or July of 2016, which is a long period of time, especially when you haven't really created anybody over the last number of months to really pick up where people like Seth Rollins and Sting left us in 2015, which was a pretty incredible and phenomenal year, especially when you're talking about pushes of stars like Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose, really the remnants of the Shield holding the title and the Intercontinental Championship at the same time, simultaneously, which leads me to believe that with how much pressure was put on Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose to create something special for WWE, their title reigns were obviously going to be prolonged, longer than what probably a lot of people would like to admit, to see these reigns prolonged for, because of all these injuries. But when you don't have John Cena, nor Randy Orton, or not even a Seth Rollins or a Sting to fall back on this close to WrestleMania, I mean, what else are you going to do? Are you going to take the title out of someone like Roman Reigns, who you spent months trying to hype up and build up for something incredible to happen, or are you going to have an entirely different direction for WWE putting titles on people that don't even make sense as champions, as the representatives of various different divisions? What you're going to have to do is obviously prolong your reigns and then create something off all these returns that we're going to be seeing long past the halfway point of 2016, which is really what we're going to get up to, the halfway point, getting a little bit past that by June or July, and then we're going to have storylines created off all these returns, these shocking returns they will allow by June or July, which we wouldn't have seen coming months before they ever happened. But obviously we know the psychology of professional wrestling pretty much is these returns happen when you usually least expect them to happen. And when we least expect a return of a Seth Rollins or a Sting or a Randy Orton, that's when it's going to happen. Now, a lot of people feel we could see a lot of returns by the Royal Rumble. I think it's too soon to start putting people back in the ring, especially with the severity of these injuries as early as the Royal Rumble, competing in a match that hosts over 30 wrestlers at the same time. That may be pushing wrestlers beyond their physical limits, especially when it comes to people like Randy Orton and Seth Rollins. I thought about there for a while, Seth Rollins may be that surprise entry in the Royal Rumble who comes in and goes the distance and goes all the way and wins his first Royal Rumble match to headline WrestleMania 32. And then I said, that's completely ridiculous. That's kind of a ludicrous assumption to make. And it's way too early for Seth Rollins to return because he had that injury back in November, which was only a couple of months ago. We're only a couple of months removed from Seth Rollins suffering from this knee injury that he blew out his knee in a match during an international tour. So it's too soon for Seth Rollins to return, and there are going to be a lot of changes in the life of Seth Rollins when he returns, probably even taking that running powerbomb out of his move arsenal. It wouldn't surprise me none, because sometimes wrestlers have moves taken out of their move arsenal that caused the previous injury that we saw them sustain, like Triple H with the pedigree and different moves. Of course, he's had different modifications of different moves over the years. If you notice, Triple H doesn't use that high running knee of Harley Race as much as what he used to after he tore his quadricep a number of times. So we've seen a lot of modifications of different movesets of wrestlers over the years, so there are going to be a lot of changes with people like Seth Rollins. But again, the Royal Rumble, talking about returns for the Royal Rumble, if any returns do happen, the only one that's likely to happen at the Royal Rumble would be someone like a Randy Orton, because right now WWE needs someone like Randy Orton, and Randy Orton has been gone for the longest period of time, with the amount of time that's been allotted so soon for all these injuries. So he's been gone the longest period of time. So he's more than likely the one return that we are going to be seeing before we ever see a return of someone like a Seth Rollins or even a Sting. If we do see Sting make an appearance for WWE, it's obviously going to be just to accept his Hall of Fame induction and his Hall of Fame ring, and to say something to all his Sting fans out there. He's got to say something at the Hall of Fame induction ceremony. He's the highlight induction of 2016, so he's obviously going to be making an appearance with the actress, of course, for his Hall of Fame induction included, and something to be said which is expected by all of his fans out there. So he's going to be making a return, but not in the way of being a competitor for WrestleMania. So you kind of have to have something happen for WrestleMania this year, which we're least expecting to have happen. And I'm not talking about a return of someone like a John Cena or a Seth Rollins this soon, because again, it's way too early to speculate on the returns. If it's anything, what we're looking at is a June or July return of someone like a Seth Rollins or a John Cena, which will get us a little bit past the halfway point of 2016. Am I happy Cena is gone for WrestleMania 32? I can't say that I am and that I'm not happy that John Cena is gone for WrestleMania 32, because you need as many big names as you can possibly get for your WrestleMania this year, especially with how many people have been injured over the last couple of months, and how you're not really offering us much in the way of main events for this year's WrestleMania. Taking a look at the WrestleMania card and the setup, it's obviously Triple H and Reigns this year. Probably something like Braun Strowman versus Brock Lesnar, which I am not a fan of. I think you can put Brock Lesnar in a ring with somebody probably bigger than someone like Seth Rollins. Brock Lesnar versus Seth Rollins, never really was a fan of that idea, and that's been played on the minds of people for months now. Brock Lesnar versus Braun Strowman, which is something that I will not get into. And if it's anything as your main event this year, it's Roman Reigns versus Triple H. But I mean, in light of all these injuries, WWE are obviously feeling nervous, and that's why they're just throwing things at us this year for WrestleMania and making us think. And more times than enough, the main event that we're thinking about isn't usually the way that things go, because sometimes what they'll do is they'll make you think it's a main event and then they'll change it altogether, like probably Roman Reigns versus Triple H is the idea right now for WrestleMania 32, and then they could change it around and probably throw someone like John Cena into the mix, setting up for a triple threat match. So it's going to take some time before we do find out what the main event is for WrestleMania this year, and I think a lot of people are just drawing their own conclusions based off what we've seen with everything happening with Roman Reigns and Triple H and other wrestlers, of course, who are factoring in this year's WrestleMania card, which could go either way at this point in time. Again, falling back on all these injuries, and now with John Cena gone for 6 months, it makes things a lot more worse and seem a lot more worse than what they probably actually are. Give me your thoughts on this injury of John Cena and how you think it will impact WWE throughout 2016. Obviously, it's going to have a significant impact on the future of WWE and the creative direction, because right now, I think Cena's needed more than he's ever been needed before. And I think I can get away with saying that, because when you take a look at everything Cena's done over the last 14 years, 15 world titles in 14 years, which averages out to one world title reign for every year Cena's been with WWE. His latest, of course, was in 2014, 2015, when he won a ladder match to become a 15-time world champion, and he's won every honor that he's been eligible to compete for throughout his career, which again, averages out to one world title for every year he's been there. I mean, that's accomplishing a lot, and it's definitely a true testament to what everybody strives to be in their professional wrestling career. So he's definitely setting the bar for people to achieve and reach within their careers. And let's be honest, if you're not in the business to be world champion or reach up and grab that proverbial brass ring, you pretty much have no reason or any purpose for being involved with professional wrestling. So definitely he sets the perfect example of what every wrestler should be in the professional wrestling industry. And if you're not there to be that, then you shouldn't be there at all. So obviously, I think Cena's needed more than he's ever needed before because of everything he's done. But I don't think we've seen the last of someone like John Cena. And just to clear things up here for you, I'm not a fan of Cena being gone. I was more of a fan of Cena's return, probably more of a John Cena fan than I've been my entire life. And who can blame me with how much we need him here in 2016. I'm your host, Jonathan Clarke, and I will talk to you again next week. You're listening to HEW Entertainment Radio, home of radio show host and columnist Jonathan Clarke.
तेरे दर्शन को मेरी वेटिंग है जरा आ तो जा बेबी इफ यू कैन चाहे लंदन जा या पेरिस फ्रांस तेरे मुंबई में मैं सच्चा फैन It's Raghav Nelly AB baby बस तेरे लिए किया you gonna really have time to change जब तक the sun comes up Here we go
to the sky. Anybody wanna go for a ride? Who wanna go for a ride? We ain't gon' bet that no mind. We ain't gon' bet no mind. Yeah, I'm only gon' say it one time. Only gon' say it one time. That wasting time game I don't play. Ain't no time wasted by me. Wasting time, man, it don't pay. Yeah, that paper chase all day. Hey, me and you, shorty, what you think about that? Anywhere you wanna go, you just think about that. Any car, any kind, what you think about a lack? Any color on your mind, what you think about black? Kinda that I am here to think about that. When it come no drama, I ain't bringing all that. I ain't bottle at the bottom, I'm bringing all that. Hips, ass, waist, I'm bringing on back. Lonely, lonely, lonely.